The School Board of Palm Beach County. Would Mrs. Bass, our Board Clerk, please take the roll?
District 1, Barbara McQuinn.
Here.
District 2, Chuck Shaw.
Here.
District 3, Karen Brill. Here. District 4, Erica Whitfield. She may be calling in. District 5, Frank Barbieri.
Here.
District 6, Marcia Andrews.
Here.
District 7, Deborah Robinson.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum with 6 board members present. District 4 Board Member Erica Whitfield will be calling in to participate in this meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve Erica Whitfield's participation in the regular board meeting and special meeting for IG? Motion by Mr. Shaw, seconded by Mrs. Andrews. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Also at the dais this evening is Superintendent Dr. Donald Fenoy, General Counsel Julie Ann Rico, Inspector General Lung Chu, Board Clerk Carol Bass, and Palm Beach County Student Council President Jaden Manuel. Following this meeting tonight, the board will reconvene for a special meeting for the Inspector General search. I'd like to remind all who will be speaking today that this meeting is being transcribed in real time so it can be viewed with closed captioning. Please speak at a reasonable pace so the transcribers can fully capture what you are saying. Here to present the United States colors is the Atlantic Community High School Army JROTC under the direction of Lieutenant Colonel James Rodriguez. And singing the national anthem is the CHROMATIC ASCENSION Choral Ensemble from the Palm Beach Lakes Community High School. They will also be singing Lift Every Voice and Sing in honor of Black History Month. The lyrics of the song will be displayed on the screens for everyone to follow along. We will then have a performance by the Dynamic Impact Drumline from Galaxy E3 Elementary School. At this time, everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the presentation of the flag of the United States.
March. Colors, turn. Colors, hold. Present, arms.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose bright stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
Do we have the young people from Galaxy here with the drums? Are they out there? Yeah, they, I hear them. I think our sound system just got blown out, but those kids are great. They're from Galaxy Elementary School, which is one of our great schools. Dr. Robinson.
So I just want to add this because I don't know how many of you realize that our superintendent was part of the Marching 100 at FAMU. And so, so just two things. First, the director of the choir from Palm Beach Lakes was Miss FAMU when she was in college. And then secondly, I think we need to start raising money now for those children to go to the Battle of the Bands at the Classic because, yeah, because, you know, young people will go to college on band scholarships. And, you know, I heard those Wildcats have an outstanding drumline. I'm just saying, Dr. Fenoy. So let's raise some money, get those babies there, and see who's going to offer the scholarships first, whether it's going to be FAM or Bethune.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
So board members, Dr. Fenoy was actually singing, and he can sing, so I think next month we'll have him sing the national anthem.
This meeting is not about me.
All right, so, Mr. Superintendent, items added for good cause?
Yes, sir. I'd like to add P2.
All right, good cause exists to add this item to allow for employees to begin in their new positions as soon as possible. Items you're withdrawing, Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. ELR1 and PIR1.
All right. Items pulled. Ms. Bass?
CAO1, ELR2, and FMPA5.
All right, we need a motion to approve the agenda as modified. Motion by Dr. Robinson, second by Ms. Brill. All in favor? All opposed? Mrs. Whitfield, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Motion carries 7-0 unless I hear differently from you. Are there any disclosures,
Carry on.
disclosures or abstentions? Mr. Superintendent?
Yes, sir. I recently engaged in one-on-one mid-year progress checks with my chiefs in order to identify major accomplishments since the start of the school year, along with growth opportunities to be a focal point for the months ahead. These mid-year progress checks were structured, targeted, and authentic to ensure honest dialogue around where we need to improve. Today, I'm pleased to share the highlights from my mid-year progress checks to increase accountability, enhance transparency, and shine a light on areas of growth. I spoke about continuous improvement during my last annual evaluation. So this graphic is meant to serve as a reminder of the formal evaluation checkpoints I have with my chiefs. In addition to regular ongoing feedback received from board members, we also take time during the year to set goals and reflect on mid-year progress. To me, the arrows really reflect the weekly one-on-one check-ins I have with my direct reports to be able to establish trust, promote accountability, and make sure that there are no surprises. For consistency, I am structuring the highlights according to the categories included in the superintendent's annual tool. The grade 3 ELA scores from last year forced us to take a hard look at what we were doing as far as literacy instruction. Overall, K through 3, specifically K through 3, we revised the number of literacy supports in response to the data. And more details will be shared during the March 4th board workshop focused on our instructional review. We were also recently named Cambridge District of the Year for expanding access while maintaining exceptionally strong student performance. The master board process continues to improve, and principals are very focused on increasing student equity and access to advanced coursework. However, our mid-year diagnostic data has revealed that we still have a lot of work to do in order to decrease gaps in student achievement. The adoption of new state standards also requires that we continue to review our instructional supports as schools move forward. The diagnostic also shares with us that we are currently really working hard to make sure that we reach our goals in third grade literacy, but there's a lot of work to do there to meet those goals as identified in my evaluation earlier this school year. We created the Division of Student Wellness and hired over 170 behavioral health professionals this past summer. We also continue to expand our school police force with a safe school officer on every campus from bell to bell. New construction projects are on track, and over 2,700 projects have been completed by our operations division. In terms of mental health, we have noticed there is a real desire in the community to take advantage of the supports we are offering at the school district. We will continue to move this work forward as we learn more about the best practices in this arena. There is a lot to celebrate in terms of talent development, but we continue to struggle with filling hard-to-staff vacancies for instructional and non-instructional positions. This is another area that we will continue, that requires to continue to innovate approaches to this work moving forward. We have been focused on developing a high-performance culture at the district, so major achievements to date include a clean financial audit for the third year in a row, as well as the creation of dashboards in human resources and transportation. Growth opportunities moving forward will center on leveraging the expertise in our project management office to inform projects outside of IT and implementing a performance evaluation tool for central office staff. Major achievements related to board and community relations include additional partnerships with the business community, such as the Business Development Board and the Economic Council. Our communications department is also building capacity within the district through its social media ambassadors initiative. For me personally, an important growth area will be to continue to build relationships with district staff, including school-based leaders. I have already visited a number of schools and departments this year, and I will continue to prioritize these efforts in the future. Lastly, I want to take a step back to share the high-level growth opportunities I envision for the next 3 to 4 months. These include priorities related to accountability, communication, and the strategic plan. As we begin to engage stakeholders in the meaningful dialogue around a new strategic plan, I want to thank the board, I want to thank the community and district staff for promoting a cycle of continuous improvement. At this time, I would like to invite the Deputy Superintendent, Mr. Keith Oswald, to the podium to introduce the new principal of Lake Park Elementary School.
Thank you, Dr.
Hold on, he hasn't been introduced yet. Yeah, it's fine. Thank you, Dr. Fenoy. Good afternoon, or good evening, board members. We have many talented leaders here in Palm Beach County, and it is with great pleasure that I introduce you the new principal of Lake Park Elementary School, Mr. Philip Preddy.
I did make a short speech as told, but with their cheering, it may be a little bit longer. Good evening, Chairman Barbieri, Vice Chair, Mr. Shaw, school board members, and Dr. Fenoy. I am so excited to be here, and I am humbled to accept the position as principal of Lake Park Elementary School this evening. As a proud product of Palm Beach County Schools, from Grove Park Elementary to Melaleuca to Coniston Middle, and graduating as a John I. Leonard Lancer, it will be my honor to serve the students, parents, and community of Lake Park. I would like to start by thanking Dr. Fenoy and Mr. Oswald, along with Mrs. Bishop and Dr. Coleman for this opportunity. Also, a special thanks to the board as well. I would like to show my appreciation for all the principals I've worked under, for their guidance through the years. From Mrs. Kerner to Dr. Adam Miller to my current partner in crime, Mrs. Edgecombe. I also must thank my first principal when I was a teacher, Mrs. Amy Wilkinson, who is now retired, who always believed in me and always boosted me up on my endeavors to be a school principal. A very special thanks goes to all my family from Golden Grove Elementary, who have been the best family and friends an assistant principal could ask for the past 9 years. A huge thanks goes to my parents who are here today and always knowing that I would realize this dream since high school. My most appreciation goes to my wife and 2 boys who complete my world every day and understand when I have meetings and I am late in the evening. And last but most of all, I thank God. I am excited and ready to stand beside the students and staff of Lake Park Elementary to continue the high achievement that already exists in the school, and I will continue to live every day by the words of Josh Shipp, which garners at the end of each of my emails, that every child is one caring adult away from a success story. Thank you again.
Absolutely.
More.
No, I'm done. Thank you.
Board comments, Mrs. McQuinn?
Yes. 2. Last week, several board members attended a special recognition breakfast for our school guidance counselors and their principals. And I think it was Monday, it's been a long week, for media specialists, many of whom still prefer to be called librarians. Heard that message loud and clear. Again, recognizing their services to our schools at all levels and their principals with whom they work very closely. I just want to reiterate, and I know all of my fellow board members feel the very same way, have no doubt that our guidance counselors and our media specialists are an essential part of why our students are successful at all levels. So thank you to all of them. And one more thing, I have to recognize another very important person to our entire school district and for keeping our board members and sometimes the superintendent in check, and that is our board clerk, Mrs. Carol Bass. Now, we seldom call attention to Mrs. Bass. She just sits there quietly. Believe me, she's calling the shots on what we can do. And she's so important to how we run as a board and an entire board office. And I am choosing today to, I know that this is, again, on behalf of all my board members are going to be irritated with me for stealing their thunder, but today is Mrs. Bass's birthday, so please join me in celebrating her.
Thank you, Mrs. McQuinn. Mrs. Whitfield?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to take a quick minute to apologize for my absence at the board meeting this evening and thank my colleagues for allowing me to participate by phone. I have been having some medical issues related to my pregnancy that require me to stay home as much as possible. I'm hoping my time at home will be short, and I will continue to work hard to stay involved with the business of the district during this time, and I thank you all for your understanding. In addition, during presentations, I was hoping to be able to give an award for the $500 scholarship to Alana Reddick for a vocabulary jam competition that I participated in at the Florida School Boards Association conference. She has been chosen by her principal, Ms. Tamika Robinson, as a top student deserving of this award, and I wanted to convey my sincere congratulations to Ms. Reddick. I wish you the best in college. We're so proud of you, and we're looking forward to hearing all about your accomplishments. And finally, yes, Mrs. McQuinn, I also wanted to wish Mrs. Carol Bass a very happy birthday today. She's absolutely essential to the work we do, and I just want to thank her so much for everything that she does for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Whitfield. Mrs. Brill?
Thank you. So today is a very special day for birthdays because when I came in and I wished Mrs. Bass a happy birthday, I said, you know what? It's also CTA President Justin Katz's birthday. So, Mr. Katz, if you're out there or if you're watching, a very happy birthday from all of us as well. I have to tell you that I am always amazed at the talent of our students. You saw some of it tonight. On Saturday night, I was in Mr. Barbieri's district. I went to see the West Boca Bulls on Broadway, their Broadway tour, which was a performance of the students from West Boca, along with some students from Loggers Run, and they performed an array of Broadway songs. I could not believe how fabulous they were. And we see this all the time. We have so much talent. It's not only at the School for the Arts, it's all throughout the district. Everywhere we have pockets of talent that is just unbelievable. And I'm also mentioning this because I want to talk about our senior communities. District 3 is loaded with 55-plus communities, and I always say how lucky I am because of how generous they are. Now, this performance was in Whisper Walk, which is actually Mr. Barbieri's district, but I want to give a shout out to Barbara Morris, who invited me. These seniors in this community raised $2,000 for West Boca High School. So I thought that was pretty amazing. And then I got word this week that Meisner Falls in my district was donating school supplies, and they called the board office to find out where to donate them, and they donated them to Congress Middle School. Along the same lines, the Cobra Education Committee donated school supplies. And just as a reminder, when you see those buses with the bumper sticker on the back asking, how's my driving? That came from a Cobra resident from Coral Lakes, Tina Korn. So I'm giving these shout outs just to say that we are so blessed to have active families, active communities, 55 plus seniors that want to be involved in our schools every day. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all of them and say thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Brill. Mrs. Andrews?
And thank you to everyone, and good afternoon. As we celebrate Black History Month, we know that we must educate everyone every day about history, the history of the African Americans, our blacks in the United States of America. Yes, most of you have heard about Martin Luther King Jr., Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., President Barack Obama, Rosa Parks giving up her seat on the bus, Maya Angelou, Malcolm X, Jesse Owens, the sports legend, and there's so many more. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who actually invented this day for us that we're celebrating this month of Black History Month. You know a little bit about the Civil Rights Movement, the NAACP, the National Association of the Advancement for Colored People. You've heard about the Emancipation Proclamation, but the list goes on and on as we study and learn African American history, our Black history. I think about it locally. It's a little personal for me tonight, very personal, about the fighters. As we have each month, I see Brother Carl Mohammed that comes here to our school board meetings, fighting to make sure all students study and learn African American history. I think locally of our schools, the black schools back in the day, your Roosevelt High School, your Roosevelt Junior College, that was before we had Palm Beach State College, the old Industrial High School that's now UB Kinsey Palm View Elementary School, John F. Kennedy High School, Carver High School, Lakeshore High School. These were high schools that were the cornerstone of the Palm Beach County community, black community. All of these schools were phased out. Many of them are still in play as middle schools. You see the name, but they were really big time during my time as the major high schools, black high schools in Palm Beach County. There's a great history to learn about these schools. And I must say, these schools produced teachers, doctors, lawyers, nurses, just any and every kind of profession you can think of. Students went to these schools. I can tell you this was during the time of Palm Beach County School District's segregated school system. I was a part of that school system, but I truly can sit here as a board member today and say that we have improved. We have improved so much, but we have a long way to go. There's so much work to be done. And so we must study and learn so that we all can be better educated about one another. All of the adults need to know, all of the students need to know about Black history, and not just one month, but every month of the year. So I just want to tell you, as I think about my past here in Palm Beach County and being a student in the Palm Beach County School District and growing up in Palm Beach County, we have improved, but there's a long way to go. So I want to just take you to another thing that happened to me just this morning. I was invited to go to Pahokee High School at 8 o'clock this morning. That's a long way when you're traveling from the east to the west. But I was happy to be able to go out there with the Business Development Board, because those people from our Business Development Board, they know that equity is important and that all children must have an opportunity. They had a program for the students from Pahokee High School as well as Glade Central High School. This same program happened at the convention center. It was called Claim Your Future Showcase. And some of the students right in here, you went to it at the convention center. But many of the students in the Glades could not get a chance to go to this. So we were out there this morning early at Pahokee High School. We had Career Source there, telling the children that you can be anything that you want to be, and teaching them about those soft skills for job hunting and how they can actually know that there's no room for giving up. We had panelists there early this morning from Florida Crystals, the carpentry system for electronics, Florida Power and Light, Palm Beach State College, Florida Atlantic University, Junior Achievement. We were all there this morning letting children know opportunities are available. That's what Black History Month is about, making sure that we don't ever go back to the past and that every child in Palm Beach County gets an opportunity to be exposed to every opportunity for success. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Andrews. Dr. Robinson?
Yes, thank you. So it's February, and so I am not going to give my traditional Black history fact, but I am compelled to mention the song we just sang, Lift Every Voice and Sing. I'm going to ask each one of us to Google it and read the words of all 3 verses. It's a song that I was raised on. In fact, got in great trouble for not knowing all 3 verses. And it's a song that I was taught was never to be sung solo. You were always to stand. Men were to take off their hats. And if you read the words, you will understand why and just briefly, I was Googling trying to find whether or not there was stated protocol as I had been taught around the song, especially about the part about it being sung solo, because it makes me cringe when that happens. So I'm really pleased that we had the choir here today. But let me just read a bit from one paragraph from an article on Lift Every Voice and Sing. Prior to this paragraph, the author talked about how at historically Black colleges and universities, we stood and sang Lift Every Voice and Sing at all assemblies. And he said, buried in the history of Black people's storied affair with Lift Every Voice and Sing is a lesson on why we feel differently from white America about the NFL players who kneeled during the national anthem. Because our relationship with the nation has been so fraught, Black people have long felt ambivalent about the symbols and rituals of white America, which is why LIFT, for short, written for us, by us, exists in the first place. Black people are compelled to tell our stories on our terms, and for us, the story has been one of unceasing struggle and protest. And that is where we are, still in 2020. And so I want to join Ms. Andrews in calling for teaching our history 360 degrees. And once we get that straight, we need to make sure we teach everyone's history, but it's Black History Month, and I'm talking about Black history. Once again, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. Mr. Shaw has no comments. The chairman's report is attached, and there's some couple issues there that we'll discuss at the IG meeting later this evening. So, Mr. Shaw, I believe you have something. Oh, you know what? Excuse me, Mr. Shaw. Ladies and gentlemen, when we have employees that pass away, we typically take a minute to reference, make mention of them, and then have a moment of silence and respect for them and their families. So this time I'd like to do that. We have Michael Craig. He was a secondary technology support at Don Estridge High-Tech Middle School. He was born in 1994, and he died in 2019. Larry Kuntz, custodian in transportation services. He was born in 1963, died in 2019. And we have a teacher, secondary English 9 through 12 at William T. Dwyer, Keisha Tooks Riley. She was born in 1972, and she died in January 2020. If we could take a moment of silence. Thank you. Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Barbieri. I ask that we, at this time, if I could take a moment of personal privilege and ask the board to take BRD 4, a posthumous proclamation for Francis Buzz Spooner, out of order. Excuse me. Vote on the proclamation and invite the family and friends forward to accept the proclamation and take pictures with the board.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor by Mr. Shaw. Do we have a second? Second by Dr. Robinson. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. If the family would come up for Mr. Spooner and the board members, Superintendent.
BRD 4, I recommend the board approve the posthumous proclamation for Francis Buzz Spooner.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Sorry, Mr. Superintendent, got ahead of myself.
Okay. Tonight, we are proud as a district to present a proclamation in honor of Buzz Spooner, a longtime teacher and administrator in Palm Beach County. He began his career as a teacher at Green Acres Elementary School in 1958 and served as principal at Green Acres and Wellington Elementary Schools. Wellington Elementary was the first school built in the village of Wellington. Buzz retired from Wellington Elementary in 1999. Buzz also made his first trip to Washington, D.C. with the Safety Patrol in 1958, only 2 years after the trips began, and later served as president of the Palm Beach County Safety Patrol Association starting in 1980. He likely made over 100 trips to Washington. Buzz was instrumental in saving the trips at one time. Many years ago, Amtrak considered eliminating the charter train. Buzz and 2 other people met with the president of Amtrak, and after that meeting, the trip was continued. Buzz will long be remembered for his leadership, compassion, and community service. He looked forward to the start of every school year and was one of those principals that asked every kindergartner in his school to visit the main office right during the first 2 days of school. He was loved and admired by his teachers and school family as well as the community. He was a hero to all of us. He was the finest example of a great administrator we could have asked for. By the way, Buzz is spelled B-U-Z, not B-U-Z-Z. And for anybody in this room, you know that if you ever spelled his name B-U-Z-Z, you would be called out and corrected instantly. So the proclamation tonight has his name spelled correctly, B-U-Z. Congratulations to the family and thank you from a grateful school district. Tonight we have present with us to receive the proclamations members of his family, his son Stephen, Buzz's sister Carol and her husband Alan, and relatives Margaret, Mark, and Maria Spooner. So at this time, we invite them to please come forward to receive the proclamations. And I know we have several of Buzz's former teachers and friends who are here, so if any of you would like to come up also, please come up for your pictures to be taken with the board too.
All righty, we got a packed house this evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Board Chair, board members, superintendent and staff, and community members. This evening, we have 8